going, Vikings fans? Welcome back into another Monday night GG Sports Podcast live stream. Got some natural light in the recording studio today now with daylight savings time and everything. Kind of nice. Little.
That's always nice.
Yeah, it's always the best part of the year, man. That's how you know that winter is coming to an end and spring is.
Sometimes up there in Minnesota, though, you never know for sure. You never know for sure.
I mean, I guess up in Duluth just got dumped on with like a foot of snow this last weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not up there anymore.
But
so how's it going, man? Start of free agency, pretty much.
Yeah, not as exciting as I was hoping. I thought this morning we'd wake up to like 3 cuts, maybe a couple restructures.
Just like not much for cuts. Mr. New rookie card giveaway. Good luck to whoever gets to that. Can't wait for the podcast, guys. Should be a good episode today. Yeah, I was hoping that'd be a little bit better than it was because there was not a ton that's happened today. What's going on, David? What's going on, Justin?
But
so what do you think? What's your initial thoughts for today and all the news?
Kind of bored, honestly. But at least we're not the Packers. At least we're not sitting here waiting in limbo to see what our quarterback, who's holding us hostage for $50 million, is going to do. Because obviously they said, I mean, there's been multiple reports. Trey Wingo said that there is a deal in place for them to trade for Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, but then other sources are saying it's not done yet. I mean, yeah, man, it's kind of frustrating that move isn't being made. Because I'd love just for the Packers to be
right away. Hey, what's going on, Skull TY? We got him. Are you talking about Oliver, the best blocking tight end in NFL history?
But obviously the Bears picking up a couple. Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker. Yeah. I believe they picked up another linebacker as well. The Lions picking up the cornerback, which is going to help them out quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, we're still kind of in a holding pattern. I mean, technically we do have until Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or is it Friday to be below the cap? I think it's.
I don't know what the exact date for that was.
I
free agency officially opens Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday is the official start of the league year, of course. So, but yeah. So I mean, there's still time, obviously, but it would have been
man.
And though they said that we were gonna be aggressive in free agency, doesn't necessarily mean aggressive with the first round, the big names.
Yeah.
But of course, I was just expecting a lot of the cuts and roster decisions to be made. I mean, obviously, Patrick Peterson officially is not coming back after signing with Pittsburgh, of course. There's rumors everywhere, and in today's day and age of Twitter, which I have up on my third monitor, waiting for something to drop just in case.
Yeah.
Both with today's day and age of Twitter, you don't know, like necessarily who's legit and who's not. I mean, I saw a rumor that the running back market is stalled because teams are waiting on if the Vikings are going to part with Delvin Cook or put him up for trade.
Yeah, let's
and it's been incredibly quiet on the Harrison Smith and Danielle Hunter front, which is weird. Harrison Smith
pretty much everywhere as far as our own current players, other than
and Delvin Tomlinson even. But what's not helping is all of these other free agent defensive tackles getting a bunch of money. So
yeah, that's not helping at all. David Buck, welcome in, man. Everybody in here. Here's a Justin Jefferson rookie card that we are giving away. Hashtag Skull in the comments. All we ask is for you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Liking the video is important. Trying to beat the YouTube algorithm, all that good stuff. So appreciate big time. Hashtag Skull in the comments. I know, Mr. New, if you're still in here, that's all you got to do. And then we run it at the end of the show. But yeah, man, let's start with the new, new addition, the one that nobody expected. Of all the moves today, I don't think anybody in here or any fan out there was expecting the first free agent that we go and grab is Josh Oliver, tight end from the Ravens at 23 years, $21 million, $10 million guaranteed.
I mean, obviously, it sounds like a lot. I mean, $7 million a year for a blocking tight end, but we haven't seen the full structure yet. With $10 million guaranteed, you feel like it's probably going to be pretty stripped down early on. Because after this season, obviously, we the cap with when Kirk Cousins' our contract gets off the books, some of that other dead money from some of the guys we've cut clears up. It's looking pretty good for the next couple of years here, which with all the moves we've made is definitely what Kwesi is doing. But again, his term competitive rebuild is, because if we were just going to completely blow it up, there's no reason you keep a guy like Jordan Hicks on this team. You draft a guy, find someone cheaper. But
Right, Jordan
part of the
Hicks.
reason we were able to make this signing was due to the fact that we did restructure 2 contracts with, excuse me, with Jordan Hicks as well as Chris Reed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I believe with these ones, they're calling them restructures, but they're basically pay cuts.
Yeah.
What I've kind of understood from a couple, like I listened to Darren Wolfson was talking on Climbing the Pocket podcast today, and that's kind of what he had mentioned. It's more pay cuts than a typical restructure. But yeah, so a couple other smaller roster moves, but yeah, man, I mean, we did need more blocking, obviously, with the way that our offensive line was this last year. Kevin O'Connell does love to use the 2 tight end sets. And just, yeah, Josh Oliver, I believe they said he was the second highest rated blocker at tight end.
Blocker
So,
tight end. I got some stats that we'll kind of go into a little bit in a second here.
and this is another thing with the going back to the Hicks thing quick,
right.
as a vet, and he is that, which is very true. I mean, I feel like if we had gotten rid of him as well, and people thought, why get rid of Kendricks and keep him, it's definitely the money thing. Because
Yeah, it was
I
100% the money.
the hope is that we get Hicks for around maybe $3 million this year. No chance you're getting a guy like Kendricks.
I mean, I didn't guess that we were going to use that extra money to throw at a tight end, but
right.
But no, I mean, it is hard to go into this season without a veteran presence there, especially now I mean, we got Patrick Peterson's gone. I mean, anywhere on this defense, they're kind of just going away.
Right.
So we need someone out there, but it's weird that it was Hicks who's only been here for 1 year. But in reality of that is so has KOC and Kwesi. And obviously it doesn't seem like they've been afraid to, kind of create their own lane from Rick Spielman so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I don't know. And there's a lot of things you do like about this. The fact that we are just being aggressive with these cuts. I mean, obviously at this point, we're not aggressive in free agency yet. We do still have, we talked about, still have moves to make. I mean, as well as the names we mentioned earlier, Zadarius Smith, even though he wants out, which was reported late last week, is still on the roster. His contract is terrible, but I mean, terrible for him, unfortunately, when he signed it, but easily tradable if we so chose to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got value. I mean, veteran pass rusher. I mean, he's getting, he's over 30 on the wrong side of it, whatever. But, when he was fully healthy last year, I mean, he was phenomenal the first half of the season. The injury slowed him down a little bit, but yeah, it's so weird. Like there's a lot of work to do. And a lot of players,
that's the big one.
A lot of players who we still don't know, are they going to be here this season?
Right. We felt like we just see a lot more cuts today, a lot more restructures, just all that stuff, just to kind of open up some cap space while all these other players are going to get snatched up. And I would just say in the NFL in general, it just didn't seem very busy. Like I feel like it's usually busy around the NFL in general. Skull Mafia, hashtag Skull brother.
And then of course, speaking of, I know we were talking about cornerback depth before he jumped on here. Duke Shelley's still out there. Cam Dantzler ended up getting picked up off waivers by Washington. There was a report a little bit ago. The Vikings are interested in Byron Murphy and Sean Murphy Bunting from Arizona and Tampa, respectively.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, let's just circle back to the new addition real quick. So Josh Oliver, I'm lost. I'm starting to worry about Kwesi.
There's a plan.
There's a plan. So like what Casey said, obviously 21 million 3 years or whatever. That is a lot of money for a blocking tight end. And if it's actually true, Oliver played like 500 snaps last year. It seems a little steep. Obviously, like what Casey said, it's probably we're assuming that that $7 million for this year isn't going to be taken from the cap. There's going to be some sort of,
they'll structure
cap,
it somehow,
magic
so
type of thing.
Not that bad,
Yeah. So it shouldn't be too bad, but still, like the first thing we do is go after a blocking tight end when we still need to extend TJ Hawkinson, our number 1 tight end, which you think you would just make a priority. I don't really, so that was kind of weird.
A lot of times
felt like someone's going to go and grab him.
But a lot of times they will wait till closer to training camp to do those restructures, kind of to get everybody when people are back in the building and whatnot. So, I mean, at least that's how the Spielman regime did it. I know a lot of other teams, like they'll make signings sooner, but those are for guys with expiring contracts. So I don't know, since they're already under contract now, maybe that's part of it. Like work through the negotiations now, then when it gets closer to camp, because I mean, there's two ways you could think about it. One, you sign them, and then you start looking at free agents. But I think a lot of times you see who you can get from free agency, how long they're signed, so you know what your future cap looks like, and then you work out those extensions. So
yeah. I wanted to bring this up. Might as well look at some quick stats here. So offensively, like everybody already knows, let's see here. I don't have exact. Oh, there they are. He had 2 touchdowns last year, 149 yards. I feel like that's not correct.
That's right.
Yeah, so 2 touchdowns, 149 yards, 14 receptions. Obviously, we know we got him for his blocking reason. So when you look at that, you do see his pass blocking grade was 71, 74, like consistently in the 70s the entire year, which is fantastic. I mean, we really do need more blocking. You know, we were kind of hoping maybe you spend a little bit more money towards center or something like that. But even last year, there was just moments where we were always wondering why KOC didn't like bring another tight end in to help block when Kirk Cousins was getting smashed against teams like the Eagles and Cowboys in those games where we got absolutely dominated in. So I get the idea for pass blocking tight end. Man, there's just something about it that seems like 7 million, like regardless of what the cap hit is this year, there's something that seems crazy about 7 million a year for a blocking tight end. And if what Teal, like, let's see if I can see his actual snaps. I don't think I do see that. But yeah, there's probably a chance he didn't play a ton. So that just seems like a lot. 7 million for a guy like that. So I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like we should obviously, like everybody else, we should have just went into another direction in the beginning here, unless we just like him that much. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. What's your final thoughts on him? And let's give him a grade. We're going to be grading all these free agency pickups. And obviously, this is starting with the first one. What are we thinking here?
I don't know. I mean, it's
you want to give him. I get it. We want to believe it's in Quezzy we trust. You know, it's that whole thing. Quezzy trust. Hopefully, he knows exactly what he's doing. This one was a weird one for me. Yeah, me to school. What's going on, Andrew? Thanks for jumping in. F. He's giving it an F. I'm going to give it a D. I'm going to give it a D. I think we could use a blocking tight end, especially if he's one of the best in the league. The contract, I don't get it, especially with how like all the we literally need. I think last week on our live stream we mentioned how what all the positions of need or whatever, and it's pretty much tight end and left or in tackles were like the 2 positions we didn't have to worry about going into this draft. And the first thing we do is go get a tight end. And everything we need everything more, especially cornerbacks. With Patrick Peterson gone, our quarterbacks is Andrew Booth, a Caleb Evans, and I don't even know the 2 other ones that are on there, I don't think.
But I mean, with the way that the cap is now, those cornerbacks were signed for pretty pricey deals. And I don't know. I just feel like with their thought process,
if you're
they
going to
couldn't
spend
jump into those top and with some of those other teams being more cap stable, they were able to jump on those a lot faster than we were. Speaking of Patrick Peterson, details are out on his deal: 2 years, $14 million with $5.85 million guaranteed on his contract. I want to see how this contract is structured first before I start talking about the money, because I feel like it's I mean, again, the base numbers look bad, but I feel like once you see the structure and the cap hits, I feel like people are going to be feel a lot better about it. I'm sure there's going to be some toilet paper money at the end of the deal where you just maybe take on like $1 million dead and save however much, kind of like we did with a couple of the other players and whatnot.
And I agree. I think that's definitely a possibility. I still do think it's just weird that was the first move we make out of everything else we could do. And I mean, I guess if you liked them so much and you thought someone else was going to swoop in on them, it's just like the one deal you make already is just to go after a tight end. So I don't know.
I mean, Johnny Munt was the first deal we made last offseason. Him and Austin Schlottman, and then 4 days later, in comes Zadarius Smith. So it's just one of those things where we're not going to be. We knew aggressive. People saw aggressive, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to make a big splash." Not necessarily. I think he just meant that we're going to, get players to fill needs for us, so we don't have any big need. Like we don't need to have, we don't need to have as many big needs going into the draft.
Yeah.
But again, there's always time, and there's guys who,
I mean, pretty much everybody's still out there.
Exactly. I mean, it's and
there's a lot of trade stuff going on.
Yet. So I mean, it's
yeah. So who knows? I mean, obviously, I think there's a lot of moves to be Definitely. Of course, there's a lot of moves. What's going on, Greg? Hey, next Monday, everybody. I think Greg's going to show us his man cave. So I guess it's pretty sick. We're going to have him hop in here and show everybody that. I think that'd be cool.
But as a,
anyways,
yeah. So I'm just kind of I'm in wait and see mode still.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there. There's so many trading and stuff like that going on.
And we still have our own guys we need to figure out what we're doing with as well.
So let's actually jump into let's jump into Aaron Rodgers. We'll do a little Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins combo here because Aaron Rodgers. So it's not official. Like, is it anybody like Ian Rappaport or anybody mention this trade to the Jets?
I mean, Trey Wingo, remember him? He used to be on ESPN. I think
he's the one that broke that.
I think he does his own show now. He was the one that said that that he heard from someone he knew it was a done deal. But
yeah, this
what's going on?
Yeah, Travis Kelce's contract averages $14.3 million a year. This guy is 7. So this guy must be half as good as Travis Kelce, right? But I don't know, man. I just overall back to the Aaron Rodgers thing. Obviously, I'm in mixed feelings, assuming that it actually goes through and it's 100% real. Like an hour before, it was like Kirk Cousins. Like if the Jets don't and me and Casey talked about it a little bit, but if the Jets don't, or if Aaron Rodgers retired, the Jets would go and look to see if the Vikings will trade Kirk Cousins. Which, speaking of, there was a report that there is one team that came and asked about if we were willing to trade Kirk Cousins or not. Obviously, he has his no trade clause, but I was excited because I'm at the point now, like if we're going to just let him go, if we're going to let him play out his 1 year, if we can get any value from him now, especially if we kind of have that leverage, like if he knows that he has 1 year left on his contract and someone else, another team's like, hey man, if you get traded to us, we'll extend you 3 years and pay you like 35 to 40 million a year. I mean, if Daniel Jones is making 40 million a year, I don't see why Kirk Cousins couldn't get 40 million years in the next 3 years. I know we were in difference in this area, but that's why I'm like,
personally, I don't think Kirk Cousins would want to take him and his family and move him to New York, especially with the media there. Like if he gets what he gets here, I couldn't imagine what the New York media and New York fans would give him. Just for like, he might actually get death threats at that point. So I don't know. I think and Kirk Cousins has been the ultimate bet on himself guy as it is.
Yeah, but he's 35. He's 35 years old.
Yeah, Sam Bradford was what, in his early 30s with a bum knee, and he got 1 year, $20 million from Arizona.
Yeah, I know, but 1 year, $20 million. Imagine if he got a 3-year contract based an average of $35 million. Plus, Kirk Cousins want that guaranteed. So I think there's a chance that Kirk Cousins could be tradable, specifically if someone is able to offer him a extension, especially if we are not. If we're like, hey, we're letting you roll this one out, and then there's someone out there's willing to give him a long-term extension, 35 years old, meaning he'll be, if it's 2 to 3 years, 37 to 38 by the time it's done. If I'm at his age, I'm taking that shit every single time.
I'm not to go to New York. I'm really not.
Like just the Jets in general, or New York in general?
Just New York.
You think those? But I can't imagine he just sits there. He's just like, you don't want a quarterback that I'm afraid of New York. I'm afraid of New York. No.
The New York media, it would be pretty. And he's got two young kids. I just don't think he'd want to have them grow up in that environment. But
you can't. I let them.
I personally think he's going to bet on himself, play one more season, because not like he's thinking he's going to suck this year. He comes in.
No, of course not.
He plays well, and he plays like he has the last 2.5, 3 seasons. He's going to get someone will pay him, give him a 2 to 3 year contract. He can play his last couple years, make some money, and call it a career. And plus, then he would have full autonomy to make his own choice instead of, which he still would now with waiving trade clause, but it has to be somebody who's willing to make a trade for him and not just sign him. Plus, the Vikings wouldn't have any better options this season unless they trade up and get a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young. Because in my opinion, coming out of the draft, those are the only 2 guys that are day one starter ready, is those 2. Yeah, and you're not going to go signing some. I don't want to go into 2023 watching Nick Mullins play quarterback for this team. No, thank you.
Teddy, 2 gloves, baby. Audio dub heads. What's going on, man? Hey, everybody who's in here, we're giving away this Justin Jefferson rookie card like we do on every single live show. Hashtags go in the comments. Like the video. How many likes do we got right now in here?
We got 13. It's actually
We got there. Okay. 13. Okay. You guys are doing pretty good, but there's 18 people, so there's 5 people that didn't like it. So everybody in here like it, subscribe to the channel, and hashtag Skull in the comments. Super easy to win this card that we'll give away at the end of the show. So yeah, I mean, overall, obviously, I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what the deal will be with Aaron Rodgers, and because there's no trade, like potential rumored trade details or anything like that out, is there?
No,
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers
so. But I
still
thought a
worth
lot of
2
people
first-round picks.
I think a
with
lot
his
of people
contract.
said that it probably wouldn't be
2 first-round picks.
Wouldn't end up being 2 first-round picks. No.
Yeah, which would be nice. But the most important thing, hey, let's go. Was that today? Yeah, Rap's the best. You already know that. Yeah, anybody else in here? Actually, speaking of that, anybody else in here, go follow Purple Pocket Podcast. Rap, he's great energy, all that stuff. We're all in this cahoots together. Also, Justin is up here. Purple and Gold for Days. Go over there. Go subscribe to both their channels. They do great work. We all do great work. We all do a lot of stuff together. So
and you got Minnesota Sports Talk as well. He's not. I believe he's busy, not in the chat tonight, but
not in the chat tonight. And then we have Purple and Scold Media, and that's the channel we all are going to be working and making content for. So you should go check that out as well. But yeah, so we don't really know what the Aaron Rodgers trade, whatever it would be. All I know, it's nice to know that dude's not going to be in Green Bay probably anymore. Because at this point, one thing he said for sure, he's either going to retire, or he's going to be a Jet, right? That is like a fact. So we don't really need to worry about him. But the only thing we do have to worry about now is Jordan Love, and we need Jordan Love to not be good. Like, how bad do we need Jordan Love to? I don't know if Jordan Love comes in and he ends up being the next Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can take that. I don't know if I can handle that, man.
Got a few more comments. Dave, how's it going tonight? Veteran center or draft? I mean, if they could find a way to get back into the second round twice to get John Michael Schmidt and Hendon Hooker, I'd be fine. But otherwise, I don't know. A lot of veteran centers that we were looking at are getting signed. So it scarily is almost feeling like Garrett Bradbury's coming back. But
I don't know. Man, it's so hard to tell anything right now. I don't know I have no idea what Quez I was like, as soon as he goes and pays $7 million for a tight end a year.
Yeah. You're getting way too hung up on the $7 million. It's not going to end up being that bad. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what direction they take with that. Plus, there was some Ezra Cleveland. I believe they were talking about Ezra Cleveland a little bit. A couple days ago, they said we might be looking into trading him. Was an option because he still wants to be center or a tackle in the league.
Yeah.
And like I know Darren Wolfson said he was talking to his agent. His agent said we think he's a tackle. And obviously
and it could be fair. Like that's fair.
He's not big enough to be a guard. He's not like, he doesn't have the anchor to be a guard in a pass happy offense. And he came into the league as a tackle. And of course, tackles make the money. I mean, the guard market as of right now, the guards and centers that have been getting signed have been getting a ton of money.
Yeah.
So that market's starting to heat up a little bit, but
right.
Left tackles, if you can be a good left tackle, you're gonna make a lot more money. So
right.
It'll be interesting to see if anything happens with him or not.
What up, Paul? What's up, Paul? By the way, you put hashtag Skull with 2 L's if you wanted in on the thing, you probably have to do 1 L. Paul actually is our first winner. He's won like 4 of our cards. So anybody in here who is worried about winning, like, you'll probably win, and you'll probably win multiple times. All you have to do is show up and you're gonna win some free stuff. Stiff Richards, what's going on, man? Cab hasn't done anything to prove himself that proves he knows how to manage a football team. So I would say so far I haven't been impressed with his first draft. Last year, I liked his free agency last year, right? To get Zadarius Smith was a big deal. Re-signing Patrick Peterson, especially, obviously, we've seen what season he had last year, and he really kept a lot of the other guys around. The thing that I do like about him is, he's about business, which is kind of nice sometimes, where he'll go in there. He's just, some guys are going to get cut, and he's going to do whatever the best for the team, which obviously can hurt some feelings. We didn't even mention yet. We haven't
Yeah.
even been on our podcast since then. But with Adam Thielen leaving later last week, stuff like that. But you know what? He's trying to do the right thing for the team. Obviously, he went out and was a big part of KOC, which KOC was obviously a massive hire. And him and KOC going after Brian Flores. So as far as that goes, that's fantastic. And he holds himself fantastically and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
I don't.
personally, I think he's been doing a pretty damn good job. I mean, taking over a media, 8-9, 9-8 operation for the last 2 or 3 years and turning him into 13-4. As you said, I think the biggest thing is he's dedicated to winning, which is why, I mean, I would say 2023 is clear a scrap year. I think that I don't agree with that necessarily. If it's a scrap year, you don't restructure a Jordan Hicks. You just let him walk. You don't hold on to a Zadarius Smith. You don't even think about re-signing a Delvin Tomlinson.
You can't scrap year when you have Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Kirk Cousins. Otherwise, it's not going to be scrap year no matter what. The worst case scenario is it's going to be another middling year, and we're just in the middle of the pack in the draft next year, which we don't want.
Well, but no, I mean, this team is set up to be a year where any opportunities out there. So you come in, let's say, let Kirk Cousins play out his deal, bring back some of your free agents, draft well, whatever. Come in next year, you do it again. You go 13-4 again, or 12 wins, or whatever. Then did you draft your quarterback this year? Then maybe he's ready to go next year. Maybe this team goes all the way, or we win a couple playoff games and the fan base flips and, hey, Kirk Cousins can actually do this. The team's better around him. Maybe we re-sign Kirk Cousins. Maybe you add to the team, or we go 8-9. You let Kirk Cousins walk. You start over at quarterback. You still have your core pieces, and because hopefully we'll be seeing some re-signings for TJ Hawkinson. Of course, Darisaw, you can't let him go.
No.
So maybe you go like 8-9, 9-8 again, like one side of the fan base kind of wants us to do. And then you get rid of Cousins. You kind of start over at quarterback, and you start to build your team. And you have a lot of young players. You don't have a ton of players that are on huge cap hits. You'd have 3 or 4 at that point. And you start to clear out the cap space, as Kwesi's doing right now. He's reloading cap space for next season. So, this team is set up. It was a hypothetical, but this team is set up to where there's multiple different ways that things could go after this next season. So no matter what happens, there's an out and there's a direction that Kwesi can take this team. So
yeah, I agree. JD, what's going on? Paul, Skull Mafia. Let's fucking go. Skull me up. Relax if Richards. This takes time. I mean, it does take time. Kwesi's doing he's doing the competitive rebuild thing, and you can tell. Like at least that something's happened there. It'll be interesting to see what's going on forward. I think, I still think we need to find out. Obviously, we need someone that can fit to go into Adam Thielen's place and hopefully even play better, which would take our offense. I think if we get a wide receiver too, a legit good wide receiver too, I think we have a top 5 offense in the league, no problem. And I think we'll be able to lean on them even more than last year and just hope our defense is better. Worst case scenario is that we could come in with a better offense, and hope our defense is better, which it feels like it can't get worse, but it's hard to always say that, I guess.
Right. But that's the thing. At least next year with the defense, we don't know what it's going to be. Like, if we brought back a lot of the same guys we had, then you're like, okay, we know what this defense is going to be. Hopefully they'll be a little better. But the fact that we're going to have all this young talent that we don't know what they are. We don't know what Lewisine is. We don't know what Asamoah is. We've seen some things from Caleb Evans. At this point, we haven't seen much from Booth, but the potential is still there.
Yeah.
Many young guys on this team. Patrick Jones and DJ Wanham, second year in a new defense, a defense that from college they're more accustomed to with the stand-up outside linebacker. Plus, we add more young players in the draft. Sure, we don't have a ton of picks, which sucks, but still, that could still change. We could trade Delvin for some picks because it sounds like teams are looking for running back.
Yeah.
We could trade Zadarius Smith for a couple mid-round picks. So there's options out there.
Yeah. Let's go through here quick. Grade is a C-. Hicks and Reed, and all of these guys are the guys he brought in after the first year. Would look bad for a GM to lost players he signed.
I mean,
yeah,
but they're not high profile. They were never high profile guys. They were backups and role player guys. Those people are replaceable on any football team. Right, and those are the first people you look at for cuts and stuff if it doesnn work out.
Am I the only Vikings fan who cares about Aaron Rodgers right now? We already talked about Aaron Rodgers a little bit earlier. No, I'm glad. I want him gone. Obviously, we don't know. It's not 100% certain yet. Like, there's all this I don't even know. There's some cryptic stuff going on with that situation. So it's hard to be like, all right, 100% 100% on board with that until we know for a fact. And then it goes down to just we need Jordan Love to suck. That's it. Like, nice Aaron Rodgers is gone, but if Jordan Love comes in and ends up being a good player, I don't know. I just can't. I'm not even thinking. That's why it's hard to talk about that, because I don't even want to think about a Packers team where Jordan Love is a franchise quarterback. Right. Vikings will trade a 7th round for Zach Wilson. Then KSC will turn him into a Hall of Famer. I would take a 7th rounder for a second overall pick. I would take that chance. I would even go to 6th or 5th rounder probably. Another one that some people have been bringing up is Matt Corral. Actually, is people saying that we should go get them, since obviously they're going to go a different direction at quarterback. And Matt Corral is talented and really good. He was a 3rd round pick last year. Obviously, he got injured. So if you can get him for like a 5th rounder, I would take a chance on someone like him. I think, especially I think over 5th. I think I take him pretty much over almost any quarterback in this draft, not named our top 5: Hendon Hooker, Stroud, Levis, Richardson, and all those guys. I maybe would have taken him 6th. It's something funny.
If Jordan Love is a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback moving into the woods with no winning,
dude, I'm out of here. This podcast agree with you, man. Is over.
It would be that would just be absolutely brutal.
Football. I'm just done with sports of that. There's no we can't. Everyone else in this division cannot do anything to get a fucking franchise quarterback, man. And if Jordan Love turns into that, I'm gonna be pissed. Paul H. OBJ.
So what is now your thoughts on OBJ? Speaking of Twitter and not knowing who's legit or not, I can't remember what his name was, but I saw a tweet that OBJ has his choices down to Kansas City and the Vikings. I don't think it's true. I haven't seen any other reliable source say anything about that. It just, I don't know. It feels too early in his free agency process to have that decision come down to those two teams that quickly. So.
And you think you'd want to pick, if I'm him, I pick the Vikings for sure. But otherwise, you got to look at Kansas City, because without Juju, who wasn't already a wide receiver one, in my opinion, he'd go there and he would be the bona fide number 1 wide receiver. So I could see why he'd choose them. Obviously, we have the LSU connection with JJ and OBJ, and they're like buddies, and that's like our chance at getting OBJ. But would you want OBJ?
And he knows Kevin O'Connell and that offense well from being in his time with the Rams.
Right.
For the right price. I mean, it sounds like he wants $20 million a year.
He does.
I don't know.
Come on, you can't be asking for $20 million.
Yeah, you guys already know our quarterback in 2024 is gonna be Rodgers. Please.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. Chill. I might do that for a year. The Brett Favre thing. It'd be hilarious.
Get to the NFC Championship game and throw an interception. Just kidding. I'm kidding. He's Rodgers, notably much less of a gunslinger. And the OBJ is another one of those guys that's very can't afford him. Can't afford him now. I saw a video about ways that we could almost get like $40 million under the cap by making certain moves throughout the rest of this offseason.
Right. Not restructuring.
O'Neal would clear up like $10 million. Extensions for Hawkinson and JJ. So there's ways, and that's why I know everybody's like, I mean, it sucks. Like I was hoping for a lot more like news on our current guys, as well as moves going forward in the future with free agents and whatnot with signings. But we also should have known that we were not going to be able to get the wave 1 guys. We're going to get, and that with rebuilding a defense, you get like the wave 2, you get the Jordan Hickses of the world. Hopefully, corner, you get something a little bit better. If we could get one of those 2 guys we mentioned earlier, they're both in their mid-20s still. So those guys would be vets that aren't just going to be like just veteran players that actually be contributors and people you could have here for the foreseeable future. But you're going to get a lot of that. Like you're going to get a lot of those mid-round picks that you're hoping or the mid-round or like the second wave of free agency guys that you hope can come in with this young roster we're going to have and sculpt these guys that we already have on the roster. And hopefully, and that's, I think what Kwesi's really playing for here is the young guys he drafted last year and who he'll draft this year, taking those steps and becoming those players that he thought they were going to be when they drafted him. So,
yeah. Are there lots of MILFs in Minnesota for Zach Wilson to bang? I mean, of course, everywhere is gonna have MILFs, but one thing that's a really good point, because you got a young coach, man. You got a young coach, late 30s. I mean, he has a pretty wife. if I'm KOC, I'm a
God.
little I'm a little worried bringing Zach Wilson in here, to be honest. So I mean, that might be off the table. That's a good point, JD. That's a really good point. Restructuring Hicks. He's lost a big step.
It's literally just to have that veteran on your team. We
Yeah,
would have
a
like
cheap
what
veteran.
we'd have like
Cheap
no
veteran.
like any what established veteran linebacker if we got rid of him. So, and I would rather keep him for, hopefully we'll see the restructure numbers in the next couple of days here, but I would rather keep him for close to 2-3 million than, you know, Kendricks is a much better player, but he wouldn't have taken a cut down to that. So
Yeah. I want to see some moves with the D.
I think they're
think
coming eventually. They're
Yeah,
coming
they gotta
eventually.
come. They gotta come.
There's still guys
I
out
think,
there.
yeah, just like Casey mentioned this earlier. Like we kind of felt that way last year, and then we got Zadarius Smith, and it went from like, oh, this is kind of like a C free agency, like bumped it up to like an A to me last year, getting a guy like Zadarius Smith. So hopefully we see some. Hopefully we see some moves on the defense pretty quick here, but we need corners, linebackers, especially corners. Obviously, we need linebackers too. I think that's one good thing about Hicks is it does kind of put a placement holder in that spot, especially if we're looking to go linebacker during the draft. Because there is some good linebackers right around our first round pick and going into the second and the third round picks. So that might be an idea, and that might be a reason why you just keep Hicks here, just in case you end up going to the draft and not getting the linebacker that you were hoping for. But corners is bad. Patrick Peterson gone. Dantzler's
Still out
gone.
there. We haven't brought Duke back yet.
Yeah, we
Hopefully
haven't brought
soon.
Duke back yet. Our cornerbacks average age is like 20, 21, something like that. So that's probably not the best situation for us. So there's no question we can't go into the season with these corners. So we're definitely going to make some moves. I'm hoping we get a flashy move. Obviously, the biggest, flashiest move you could have made, Jalen Ramsey was traded to the Dolphins a couple days ago. So that's not a possibility anymore.
So crazy to think. I believe last year, the first wave for us, we technically did get another tight end, of course, with Johnny Munt. But that was also when we signed Hicks and Harrison Phillips, I believe. Weren't they first day for agency guys last year?
Jordan Hicks, and who was the other one you said?
Harrison Phillips? I thought
Harrison
they were
Phillips.
first
Oh,
day
yeah,
for
yeah.
agency guys
Harrison
last
Phillips
year.
was really early. Jordan Hicks might have not been as early.
Well,
but
because
I think
they were both announced on the same day, I remember.
Oh, they were? Okay,
Yeah.
then I think they were early then.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's see. I need a big would solidify the O-line, not flashy. Yeah, offensive line definitely does need some toughening up. I know we've had a lot of conversations about that one as well, with both Jamie, with you, plus my dad here. So, yeah, because the middle of that offensive line was, it got roughed up pretty bad last year. And then obviously when Bradbury, we thought we missed him, then he came back in the Giants game and he got blown up when the Giants defense was fully healthy.
Wasn't good. We got to do some moves there. I don't know which one you clicked. I'm
No,
kind
you're
of
good.
curious to see what Jalen Naylor is capable of doing with some more reps. We're big Jalen Naylor fans. Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, he really is a big Jalen Naylor fan. And he's someone that has that speed that we kind of miss on our offense. Obviously, in limited time last year, he showed out. I mean, he's not PFF's number 2 rated wide receiver in the entire league. Obviously, small sample size, but I mean, that's still a big plus. So I am interested in seeing Jalen Naylor as well. Am I convinced he's going to come in and be that wide receiver that we're looking for, that wide receiver 2? Because it's hard to believe KJ Osborne is going to step up to be that. I still think KJ Osborne can definitely be the wide receiver 3. I'm not convinced Naylor can do that, and I do think it might be something we do in the draft. I do like if we got OBJ and it wasn't insanely priced or whatever. I feel like it would be nice because then we kind of got that taken care of. But at the same time, there's a lot of wide receivers I like in this draft, and I do think there's going to be some really good ones that come down to our pick in the first round. Even though we need defense 100%. That's our biggest need. But I do think that if there was one single position, one single player that could bring us to the next level, I do think it's another wide receiver because it'd make our offense that much better. Compared to like if we were to pick a cornerback in the first round, like there's a chance that cornerback doesn't even start the entire year compared to a wide receiver. What's up?
2 things. Nothing. I mean, it's kind of Vikings relating, but
I thought you were about to do a wad bomb.
I wish. Darren Wolfson reporting the Vikings have no interest in bringing back Irv Smith, so the tight end signing kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Eric Kendricks is a Charger. Just announced by Ian Rappaport
I like that.
one minute ago.
I like
Eric
that for
Kendricks
him.
back in
Okay.
LA, bolt up.
I like that. I like that. That's a solid team, a good young defense, a lot of talent on that defense.
Speaking of talented defenses, 49ers getting Javon Hargrave today.
They did?
Yeah.
What the? What? Are
That
you
defense
serious?
that defense is almost
I didn't even notice that.
that defense
Dude,
is
that
almost
sucks.
unfair.
Now it's literally Delvin Tomlinson or bust for us. It
Yeah,
is.
and his price just went up a lot the last
I know.
little
Fuck,
bit of
dude.
time here.
That's tough. That's
Didn't we
tough.
draft a couple linebackers last year? We had Asamoah, who and that's kind of the thing is we saw a few flashes in, but we still didn't see much. We don't know exactly the type of player he's going to be, but
We've seen some
I think
good things though.
right, exactly. The hope is that he's big, and he's going to be more of your all around guy. I think where Hicks would mainly be in the run game, and hopefully you have, and then we have Troy Dye and William Kwenku as well, a couple younger guys back there. So see what they can do. Plus, I'm sure there'll be either a later free agent signing, plus and probably a draft pick as well. I literally would bring Zach Wilson, like KLC works magic on him. Needs a new place where it's not toxic, and that's why I don't think Kirk could go there because in New York media, you make one mistake and you just get absolutely torn apart there.
And Zach Wilson, you get that vibe where he just needs to grow up and mature. And there's other players that you've seen that happen to earlier on in their careers for them to kind of level themselves. A lot of wide receivers, Chris Carter, speaking of some of them, and then they end up being great once they kind of grow up a little bit. But can you imagine how Zach Wilson is feeling seeing his teammates doing their best to bring in Rodgers? Yeah, I mean, at this point, Zach Wilson's like, what do you do, man? You weren't, I don't know. Like Zach Wilson regressed from his first year. So you just wonder if he was focused on football and getting better. And his talent was so much better this year as well. So, you got to sleep in the bed you make type of situation, I think, for him. But yeah, that's crazy, especially
or sleep in the bed that your mom's friend makes.
Yeah, whatever. Zach Wilson will go for number 2, and that's probably the reason why he sucked last year. Probably. But no, I would say no. It's interesting though because Garrett Wilson, Sauce, and Brees Hall,
when he gets back from
they
the
made
ACL
the video together, and that's the crazy thing with them is they're so young. They're the youngest guys on the team, the youngest stars on their team, and they're just like, let's go get this 38-year-old Rodgers over this second overall pick that they got a year before last year. Good for Kendricks. Oh wait, it's going to be Byron Jones after he gets cut. I like Byron Jones, but man, he's been coming up with these tweets where he can't jump anymore or anything like that. Like he's all messed up. So I'd be worried about him. I mean, he's like trying to convince players like, hey, I don't know if going to the NFL, which it makes sense. You're gonna go through injuries and all that stuff. But that does scare me a little bit on Byron Jones. Depending on the price, I guess I'd maybe give him a chance. Yeah, good for Kendricks. I think I like that for him with the Chargers. There's a lot of good talent there. Hopefully he can keep Joey Bosa in line because he's been going kind of off the rails lately as well. Now I'm hoping I want to see Adam Thielen in Kansas City. That's what I want. I want Adam Thielen in Kansas City. I think I want him to get the best situation that he can possibly get.
For sure. Oh yeah, we should be remiss as well. We didn't start off the show with this. Obviously, the news on Saturday morning, the passing of Minnesota Vikings legendary coach Bud Grant. 95 though, lived a long and prosperous life. Brought the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls. Just attitude football, like no nonsense type of guy. Jamie, you were at the game where he walked onto the field in a polo shirt.
Yeah, and I was freezing my ass off. I saw him come out here, and then you had to like stand up a little bit, just like okay, like a 80-year-old man. Or well, that's like 85. No, at least 85.
He was 90. He was 95.
95.
He was 95,
and that was what 6 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. He's like 85, and he's going in there with a T-shirt on. That shit was crazy.
Right, but so obviously did have to pass along our condolences there. As long as Thielen, yeah, and his wife wants him to go to the Packers because of course she's from there. But
yeah, his wife's been just kind of I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah. He needs to snatch up that phone or something. I don't know.
Keep her off the internet.
Keep her off the internet for now. But no, I'm just hoping the best for him. I want him. I don't care where he plays, but I'd like for him to get a good quarterback. An upgrade at quarterback, which isn't really hard. But yeah. Anyways, so let's jump into just Delvin Cook. Like, what do you think's gonna happen to that situation? Because we were thinking
Like,
like for sure
it's weird.
Madison
Yeah.
would be gone. But
Right.
now it's Madison. It sounds like we're trying to restructure or not restructure, but extend
Resign him.
Madison and
Yeah.
resign him. And
And let
Delvin Cook in a trade that sounds like it's heating up quite a bit.
right. But then I've heard a lot of people say that they don't foresee, like Tom Pelissero said at the combine, and Darren Wolfson kind of said it today too. Like he said, I don't see him not being on the team, or Cook not being on the team this next season. So it's really weird. And that's the thing. Like, there's been so many different things we've heard from all different directions, and nothing's happened, which is just really strange. And I know last year too, Kwesi was a little bit slow making these moves. I mean, Harrison Phillips wasn't. I remember seeing it in a tweet earlier. He wasn't signed till like 7:30 the day of free agency. So, I mean, he's methodical. Maybe a little too methodical still. I know he's still new to the job, but it is taking a little bit longer than any of us expected. And
I'm hoping he just has some crazy plan in that analytic Wall Street brain of his. That's what it is. Like the Wall Street thing is like, all right, he's just calculating this massive thing. Hopefully, that's what you're hoping. He has just grand scheme. Thielen's wifey tripping, man, turning into Mahomes' wife. Yeah, dude. That's why. I mean, if it works for both Thielen and Mahomes, if he goes in there, the wives can hang out and kind of, not be as big of a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Casey mentioned Kendricks to the Chargers. I like that a lot. For Kendricks, actually. Good team. Their defense, actually, I thought their defense was going to be one of the best last season, and they kind of underperformed, but I think they still have tons of talent. I mean, they still have Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Sante Samuel Jr.
You want to talk about Adam Thielen? He could go there. I mean, they kind of have their deep threat guy in Mike Williams, and then they still need a decent number two. So if they can incorporate him in the offense a little bit,
yeah, I'm cool with that. I want him to go to a good quarterback. I want him to go. I mean, if T Higgins left and they decided to bring for the Bengals, and then he decided to go to Cincinnati, obviously, like I said, Kansas City. All we know for sure is he wants somewhere where he has a decent role.
Yeah. Speaking of wide receivers, was there some rumor out there that we're linked to DeAndre Hopkins somehow? So I thought I heard that from somewhere.
People
I just don't
bringing it up because it sounds like he's going to be on the trade block here.
Yeah.
That's no, not the Lions. If he did, I don't know. I'd rather have him be out of the division. Obviously, the Packers are the one. Like, no, like if you go to the Packers, like you can't do that. You can't come from Minnesota, become a Viking, your dream, and then leave for the Packers. Like when you're him and you're like, 80 years old, 70 years old, and you're looking back on your life and you just like, man, I was playing for the Vikings, all that stuff, and you went to the Packers. Like you can't do that. You can't be doing that.
No, absolutely not. Would not like to see that. But speaking of the Delvin Cook thing, let's go back to that thing I saw earlier. And again, it's from one of these, Twitter sources that I just don't know. Do you believe it or not? Where they said that an assistant general manager in the NFL said the running back market is stalled because teams are waiting on Delvin Cook to make it or the Vikings to make their decision on if Delvin Cook's going to stay or not. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Don't know what to think.
Yeah. I mean, going into last season, we were feeling like, I mean, he's going to get paid $13 million. I don't know what his contract situation would look like going to another team or how that would work. He said he didn't want a pay cut. I don't know if he gets like a long-term deal. He'll just bring that base salary down a little bit or whatever. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And the fact that that's heating up the way it is, it's just this whole time, it's starting to really seem like we're probably not going to have Delvin Cook next year, but it'd be really interesting because I didn't really think that we'd keep Madison as well. Especially since we're kind of going, it seems like we'd go more towards that passing type running back or whatever. But yeah, waiting on Delvin Cook. That's what the report said. Hot
commodity then, yeah. So we'll see. Maybe they can drive the market up a little bit there. I bet our defense was bad, but at least we did not give up 27 points to lead and lose in the playoffs. Very fair point. What else? What else big happened today? Austin Eckler speaking of running backs, Austin Eckler wants out of LA.
Yeah, there's a lot of running backs out there. But hey, Austin good Eckler, news that out of all those running backs, they're worried about Delvin Cook. So that's good for us.
Like with Austin Eckler, you look at his rushing stats, and they're not great.
They were using,
but he catches so many passes. And he
yeah,
scores so many touchdowns too. That's the thing. Like
and
his
that's probably
overall
why he
rushing
wants
stats
out
per
of there,
game
because
aren't
his
great,
usage
but
rate was not good in the run game at all last year. The year before was a lot better. Dude, if we got a first round for Dell, that's not gonna happen. But man, just because like running backs didn't get picked in the first round, pretty much ever. But if we did, man, I mean, since we know they want them, we're just like, we'll ask for more. We need to ask for more.
and we haven't been on since we haven't talked about the pick or the trade for the number 1 overall pick yet either. Speaking of division, we'll talk about the Bears a little bit here. Ryan Poles is making some moves, man.
Yeah, well, he's gifted it. He was gifted these moves.
Yeah,
he was so bad of a GM last year that they came last in the NFL, and now he's just being gifted with picks and all that stuff. So that's luck. That's not Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles is still trash. Starting with choosing the
but then the
Lions
trade they
or
made
Bears right
though.
away.
What's Carolina now? They're saying they might even take that pick and move back down again. So
Yeah, the reports came out
weird.
they want Shroud for sure, but there's a chance that Houston would rather have Bryce Young. But who knows? It could be a smoke screen for the Carolina or whatever. But man, if they were able to move back one spot, that would be huge, and then still get Shroud there. Definitely. But now really starting to seem like it's going to be Bryce Young and Shroud 1-2, which is the way it should. Maybe not like for sure. Out of the quarterbacks, it should have been them 1-2.
I thought there was someone who said that that Stroud was the favorite to be number 1 overall now.
For Carolina, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, since that trade, they said that Carolina seems to be like more interested in Shroud. But yeah, so Shroud one. I mean, either way, 1-2.
Yeah.
I think you take Bryce Young, but whatever. Yeah, either way.
Well, those two are easily, like I said earlier, I believe those two are easily the most like pro ready,
and they're good. Most pro ready as well as good, and 21 years old. Obviously, they're all them two are the youngest ones. They're younger than I think. They're 21. I think Richardson's almost 22. Levis is 23 and a half. And then obviously Hendon Hooker is 25. So you're talking about the two youngest, the two safest, and these guys definitely have the ability to just, obviously they're not like 6'4" jumping for what was 43 inches or whatever, or whatever.
45,
Anthony,
something like that,
running 4.4s, all that crazy stuff. But yeah, I think there's no question that those guys should be the first two quarterbacks taken off the board. And that's what it seems like it's going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised at this point if it's first pick and second pick for sure. Right. Because Houston has to go quarterback.
Well, and I bet you anything, I mean, if you're Arizona, I mean, I know you want to really get, like, you can get whatever defensive player you wanted at 3, but you gotta, like, those their phones have to be on. They have to be making calls, receiving calls, because then you got to figure. And now with the Raiders, they're taking out of the quarterback mark. I mean, they could still take one, I guess.
Yeah, I can't believe. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them draft somebody.
Jimmy Garoppolo comes to another team and they draft the potential replacement behind.
They just move up to like the third pick to get a quarterback.
I
would not. Jimmy Garoppolo just. I don't. He's a placement quarterback. He is. He's a guy that you take because you want someone else to come in and be groomed or whatever. Kind of like Kirk Cousins now at age 35, hopefully.
But you got to think, like, whoever wants to get that other quarterback, because you figure the Colts are in a perfect spot now that one of them will fall to them at 4. I guess for them, it all depends on which one they like better. But if there's a team that really wants a quarterback, jumping up to 3 now seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree.
Or 5 even, because the Cardinals probably wouldn't take one, but somebody else might then jump up to 3 and take your quarterback from you. So
yeah, and right now it sounds like I'm putting my money on Richardson over Levis as far as when he's going to get drafted now. I have a feeling Levis is going to be the guy that drops a little bit.
And honestly, I feel like that'd be a perfect situation for the Colts to have Levis fall right into your lap at 4 if someone jumps up and takes Richardson.
Right. So yeah, no matter what, the Colts should get their guy. But man, I don't even like if there's 4 quarterbacks go in the first 4 picks, there is going to be the couple teams after them, including the Lions, who have the 6th pick, right?
Who a solid defensive player will fall right into their lap.
we're talking generational talent in Jalen Carter and Will Anderson.
I believe I saw the comment earlier. Where was it? I can't remember who it was. Was it anyway, it was about oh, here it was. Yeah. I know this. Jalen Carter falls to the Lions.
I
I do
didn't
not
even see
want to
this
see
one.
Bradbury up against that man. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
that would be
Dude,
scary.
that's what the Lions, man. If they get another stud defensive player, watch out. I mean, we're still gonna. I mean, they're still at the end of the day, they're still the Lions. Same with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Like
the Lions are going to be the favorites to win the division this year. Just think about that. Think about
you guys
that.
hear this guy? Or
The betting favorites. The betting
favorites. They're gonna get smashed. We'll smash them still.
But just like think about that. Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Let's just have the Packers come in last for years. I want them to be the next Lions. Let's just do that, and we'll be good. And we'll be good.
Absolutely. Anything else we got before we do the giveaway and hop off here? All I want to say is that I know it hasn't been super exciting yet, but I believe with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah that there's a plan.
Yeah,
I think he has a plan.
We've already talked about. He's an analytic Wall Street guy. You have to have some sort of crazy plan going on in that brain, and I do think he is. I think it's kind of annoying. You're all excited. I wasn't excited, but somewhat excited to like just see what we're doing with this roster, even as far as cuts and restructures go. I just want to see this cap hit or a cap situation come down so we can feel like we can go get some guys. So not really improve. Actually, we didn't improve there at all. It's the opposite because we didn't cut anybody. Well, we restructured a couple players, I guess.
And this is the big one. Flores wouldn't come without a plan. Exactly. And that's another reason why the people that say we're tanking this year or we're throwing away this year to go into 2024, that's just I can't fathom that thought process because you don't make the moves that they've made with keeping some of these players and all this stuff if you don't plan on somewhat trying to be competitive this year. So there's a way you can do both.
They're going
to be competitive and you can rebuild. He's shown us that. He said that's the plan since he got here.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of uneasy Vikings fans now because nothing's happening, but
we got a lot of stuff
just
we got to do.
Preaching the calm, wait and see approach because there definitely is a plan.
Kwesi we trust. Come on. We have no choice.
Until things completely fall apart and blow up. And
There's no way.
Then we riot and move on.
Yeah, you don't not sign Shelley and you don't let Patrick Peterson go, and you go in with the cornerbacks that we have right now. Like there's going to be a plan.
James Cook 9 minutes ago tweeted eyeballs and added Delvin Cook and Buffalo Bills. He's trying to make the moves, just like old Trevon Diggs did the year that Diggs wanted to be traded. Speaking of which, before we move on here, did you hear Diggs' comments earlier this week as well?
Was he on the Shop LeBron show? Is that what that was?
I don't know where he was.
I think that might have been on LeBron's show. With his comments saying
to sabotage his career by sending him to Buffalo. Like,
first off, the Buffalo Bills were on the rise regardless. Yeah. I'm pretty sure did they make playoffs a year before? It was pretty obvious they were on the rise. And like we're going to try to get our best. Like we didn't just be like, hey, we're gonna go get the pick or we're gonna force you to the Bills. The Bills gave us a first and a third, right? We're going to take whatever anyone gets us. I don't care if you want out. You shouldn't be able to be picky on what team you want to go to. We're going to take the best offer we can get. And that's what I think what happened with the Bills and Diggs. I do not think the Vikings sent them there to fail.
No, absolutely not. Diggs is just guy's nuts.
I mean, you bring him back to the Vikings. I personally take him in a heartbeat, even with all that stuff.
Can you imagine?
I mean, he's damn good, but
yeah.
But I would still take him. But speaking of that, we're talking about Delvin Cook and the Buffalo. That is where his brother plays. So that would be an interesting scenario.
Miami, hometown.
There's options out there. The Bills seem like the perfect one. They're the ones that they're just like, that's all they need. Like in their heads, you're like, if we just had another, like a better running back, something like that. I don't know. That's what it kind of feels like to me.
Are we talking physically, mentally, or emotionally, or all three? Diggs, he's just always been like, even on social medias and stuff. Even when he was here, he's always just been.
He's a kind of a prima donna. Well, I know. I I always like Diggs. But there is very telling when what's Brian Robinson's show called again?
96 questions.
Yeah,
That one.
I couldn't even just think of 96 questions. Yeah, 96 questions when they all asked like who what player would you least want to date your sister or whatever? And it was immediately every single person Diggs. Immediately Diggs. So
And he thought they were
obviously
joking.
he's like,
They
that's
were. I
not
think
the
they were
guy
dead
you want to
serious.
bring to your parents type of thing. So obviously he's a prima donna or whatever, but he's also one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL. Top 5 in my opinion, probably. But yeah, he's salty, man. I don't know. He wanted out. He just can't. I don't know what it is. He should just be happy he's with a team that makes playoffs and one of the best teams every year. But I get it. You know, we all do want a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. But yeah, any other thoughts here? I think we kind of covered everything that happened over the weekend.
Yeah, Wednesday. Obviously we'll be back on again with
hopefully with more exciting news.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The Skull Experience with Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, and hopefully we have some new news. We have to. There's got to be some, because I know we have to be under the. I don't know if you figured that out by now or yet, but we have to be under the cap by the end of the week or whatever. So we got to go figure that out. And so there's going to be some moves. There's going to be all types of crazy stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think Wednesday, there's just more to talk about. We literally just signed a blocking tight end. That's it. That's all we did today.
I was thinking this stream was going to be like perfectly timed where things would happen. We'd have something to talk about, but it was a busy weekend. A lot of like hearsay news came out, so we were able to kind of discuss some of that. So that's good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was cool. And you know, the biggest win today is potentially, I think probably, but we'll see, is Aaron Rodgers is officially out of the division. All right, not officially. He's out of the division. I think it's going to be officially. Yeah. No matter what he is, because he already said it's either that or he's going to retire. At this point, I want him to retire. I want the Jets to give Kirk Cousins an offer and us an offer neither of us can refuse. And yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. All right, let's run this card. Again, everybody in here, hashtag Skull in the comments to win a Justin Jefferson rookie card. Subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. You guys already know. Let me get this up.
No, as soon as we end the live stream, there's going to be like 4 things that are all going to be just news dropped. Like,
yeah, so, I mean, if anything crazy, we might have to be coming back on here, guys. So be looking out. All right, let's run this. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see what we got. And we got, boom, Sarah, back to back.
Back to back.
Sarah. Guess what, Sarah? I already know your address, so I should have no worries getting it to you. David, it's a little late. You were in there. But David, we're gonna be here Wednesday. We give away these cards every single live show. So just subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications for our live streams, videos. And I mean, we go live twice a week right now. So yeah, I mean, we give a card on all those shows, and you know, we're
sometimes if we're feeling generous, we'll do 2.
Sometimes, yeah. Then yeah. Sometimes if we're feeling generous, I have to be a little less generous for right now, but we're going to be. And we got some other cool cards that I want to give away in the near future as well. And we got some good plans for the draft and everything too. So
it's gonna be a busy next 6 weeks, that's for sure, with draft prep and then obviously the draft
and then
itself.
Then everything dies completely dead.
Exactly. But luckily for at least people who don't get to live in summer all year long, it's summer.
Yeah.
And nice weather. Get to enjoy the sunshine. Be happy for a bit. You know how it goes.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for being in here, David.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate. That's what I started to worry about. We don't come here for the card, though. That's good. That's good.
For the cards. Yeah, it's all right though. If you do, and you have friends that only would come for the card, let them know, and I'm cool with that. They can come for just the cards
as long as they subscribe and like videos and
subscribe, like the videos. I'm cool with that. But I appreciate the ones that are here for more than.
Can I get a Josh Oliver card? Hey, we'll look for one.
See, dude, I actually almost looked for one before, and I was like, I think I've had one before, but I didn't have one. I don't think. But that would have been funny. That would have been pretty funny. But all right, guys, let's we'll wrap this up.
All right, yeah, thanks for joining, and yeah, for sure, join us on Wednesday on Skull Experience, and yeah, we'll go. Feeling lucky, Kirk gonna get traded.
Yeah, Sarah, this is what this is meant to be. Back to back for Sarah. it means Kirk Cousins is we're gonna get 2 first-round picks for Kirk Cousins, and he's gonna accept
Can you imagine?
he's gonna accept a 4-year contract with another team, and he's gonna suck next year, and all that money is gonna go to waste for that team. It's gonna be perfect scenario.
All right. See you guys.
All right. See ya, everybody. Skull Vikes.